Hey everyone, I'm Tony George from DocSports.com. March Madness is here. I thought we'd give just a little bit of a betting primer. Thought I would share 33 years of experiences for you and kind of how to approach March Madness betting. Now, as I tape this on the 5th of March, there are conference tournaments underway. Starting with conference tournaments, before we get to the big dance and the NIT, one thing you want to look at in these conference tournaments, there's a lot of conferences, especially smaller conferences, that are top heavy. I'll give you an example. The Missouri Valley, Bradley, Drake, followed closely by Northern Iowa, and then the rest of them, it can go either way. What does that mean is there's a lot of parity in these conferences that you have to be very wary of. And a lot of times the top couple of seeds don't play till the second or third day in the tournament. It's even that way in the bigger Power Fives too. And you have teams that come out of nowhere and gain momentum. The other thing, and scare them, because they're going to be laying a big number. So you got to be wary of that. Anybody can beat anybody this time of year. Anybody. Nothing comes easy. Big spreads are not your friend. Bear that in mind. You also want to look in these mid-majors and even some of the Power Fives and smaller conferences on teams that are playing their best basketball right now, that are a 3, 4, 5 seed, but they've won 8 out of 9 or 7 or 8 in a row, like Vermont in the American East Conference. They've won 9 games in a row in second place, They may be able to give Brian a ball game at the end of the day. I mean, you got to take a look at teams that have momentum that are not the top 2 or 3 seeds that can give somebody some problems that are catching 5 or 6. Look for those. That's where the value lies. And then you get in some of these Power 5 conferences in the top 2 or 3 teams, and you think they're going to go lights out. Teams that are ranked in the top 20 that already know they're probably going to be a 2 or 3 seed, or they're shoe in for number 1 seed. They put a lot of emphasis on the regular season and winning that title. Not so much in the postseason, because they want to stay healthy for the run in the NCAA tournament. So their first game is Auburn's playing South Carolina as hypothetical in the SEC, and they're laying 17. Big spread is not your friend. They want to do just enough to win to advance. They also want to stay healthy. They don't want to burn out their team trying to win a conference championship tournament. They're more concerned about seeding for the NCAA tournament, and that's pretty much all locked in. So you got to be wary when you're doing these conference tournaments. Not all teams have motivation to sweep it and win. Some do. And the teams that are bubble teams that are playing weak sisters in the beginning of the tournament, they're going to want to put on a show. So if they're laying 3 or 4, that might be your take. FYI. When it comes to the NCAA tournament, the NIT tournament, let's talk about the NCAA tournament. There's probably 5 or 6 teams, realistically 4 of them, that have a real legitimate shot that could win a national title this year. And the rest of it is a coin toss. So underdogs are going to be your friend. There are teams with names that are probably barely going to get in. North Carolina, Kansas comes to mind. These aren't good basketball teams this year. Don't bet a team based on past reputation or Bill Self or this other coach, this other whatever, their experience. This is when the cream rises to the top. You know what? If the cream hasn't risen to the top and they didn't contend, like Kansas, for instance, for a conference title, no matter how many national titles and how many Big 12 titles they've had, they're just not that good of a team this year. But odds makers probably are still going to put a decent point spread on them. You want to look out for that. There's going to be a lot of parity in this tournament. There is a lot of above average teams this year. Not so many quote unquote elite teams. There's 5 or 6 elite teams that probably could interchangeably beat each other. Auburn, Tennessee, Duke. I don't know about somebody from the Big Ten right now. Michigan State and Izzo obviously knows how to coach this time of year, but the SEC probably going to dominate this year. Big 12, Houston, another one that can beat anybody anytime. But the rest of it is just a muddled mix of last possession type basketball games. So you want to be wary in these tournaments. And the big high seeds lay in double digits against an above average team, a 3 seed versus whatever, 9 or 10 seed. They're laying 15, 16 points. You want to be looking for reasons to take underdogs. And usually out of the gate, first round, the totals are beefed up a little bit. You want to be sure and take a look at those totals. And when you're looking at totals, forget season averages and forget the conference tournament averages. Look at their last 5 regular season games to get a gauge of what their average points was for and against. And measure those numbers against their opponent's numbers in the same discipline, and then take a look at what the spread is. Okay? Just some things I've learned over the years. Now, the NIT, there's going to be a lot of really good teams in the NIT if they accept bids, and they should. Most of them do. And a lot of reason why those teams there were bubble teams that didn't make it into the field of 64 is the fact they couldn't win on the road. Look at where their losses came. Yeah, they were 14-2 at home. They were 3-7 on the road or whatever, because this is home road games. This is not on neutral sites. And home teams in the NIT always have an advantage. Now, if you have a home team that's probably very disappointed they didn't make the tournament, and they're playing, a Vermont runner-up in the Mo Valley, 4th place team in the Mountain West that just missed it or whatever, and they're laying double digits. Those lower seeded teams have more motivation than a disappointed higher seed team. And you want to be looking maybe to take some points in these tournaments. In that scenario, in other scenarios, you see a team has got 2 or 3 road wins all year long, and they're on the road in this tournament, and the home team is, from a Power 5 conference and laying 5 or 6. That might be a team you want to get on. But remember that home road dichotomy when it comes to the NIT tournament, any lesser tournament. These are just a few tips kind of to get your mind right. Everybody likes to bet March Madness. even recreational guys that really don't bet a lot during the season. Especially now that there's some sort of legalized gambling in 38 states. Now, the advice I can give you is to seek out good resources and to keep your volume lower. And if you want to be betting parlays, 5-team parlays, stuff like that, make them 25, 30 bucks. Don't, even professional bettors, professional handicappers, don't bet 5 or 6-team parlays in March Madness because they know the volatility of that tournament and they know the volatility of larger point spreads. You know, maybe you want to have fun, you know, a $15 17 money line parlay. Take the spreads out of it, stuff like that. You have a little fun with an exotic wager, but if exotic wagering is your sole focus, the chances of you winning in March Madness are slim or none. It's called madness for a reason. So, you know, put your thinking cap on right here. Put your thinking cap on. No, they're not going to make the tournament. No, they might make the NIT. But nonetheless, I hope some of these tips help you, and I wish you a lot of success in March Madness. My March Madness package will be up at DocSports.com. If you've never been a member, you can get $60 off of it simply by expanding the description below this video. And there's a link that says free $60 or a tab on the website that says free $60. We'll park $60 in any new account. Comes with a profit guarantee and zero hassles. So get over to DocSports.com. We've got 11 other handicappers, some consensus services, text-based services, stuff like that. And I'm involved in one of those on a small level but nonetheless, there's numerous options over there and a lot of experience to help you make better decisions and get it right. We had a winning March Madness year last year and looking forward to another winning March Madness season this season because the regular season for me did not pan out this year. And it happens from time to time. You know, you do this 33 years, you're not going to go 33-0 in winning regular seasons in any major sport, pro or college. That's the nature of the beast. But we'll give you a good shot during March Madness. Doc Sports, place to be.